Has the democratic dispensation done enough to investigate Apartheid-era state looting? What does the Bankorp lifeboat mean to those who occupied positions of authority at the time? Are there any legal grounds on which Absa can be forced to pay back 2.25 billion rand? And who should be held liable to pay back the 26 billion rand allegedly stolen from the Reserve Bank before 1994? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Black First, Land First says Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane has assured them to investigate their complaint of state capture by white monopoly capital. The matter revolves around the assistance provided by Bankorp by the South African Reserve Bank between 1985 and 1992 and to Absa Bank between 1992 and 1995. The BLF has been among a number of organizations calling for a thorough investigation into Apartheid-era corruption and for the companies that allegedly stole 26 billion rand from the Reserve Bank to pay back the money. The Public Protector provisional report allegedly leaked to a popular newspaper suggests that Absa must pay back 2.25 billion rand should the findings be upheld. Absa says it is regrettable that in its current form, the leaked report perpetuates an incorrect view that Absa Bank was the beneficiary of undue South African Reserve Bank assistance, close quote. We are live, and therefore you can call us. Air your views. The numbers to dial 0891104210. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. My guest today, Andile Mngxitama, Black First, Land First leader, and Professor Yanni Rousseau. He's the head of economics and business science at Wits University. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Prof, let me start with you.
Good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, Andile. Good afternoon to the listeners. And I would just like to say thank you to all these good people making the show possible. I don't think they ever get a thank you from anybody on stage.
Prof, I actually thank them every day when I close the show.
Can I add to the thank you?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Prof, what happened to Absa? Just give us a little, synopsis of this whole story.
Paul, this story starts in 1985 when a banking group at the time called Bankorp ran into financial difficulty. Bankorp was the owner of a number of South African banks at the time,
yes,
and Trust Bank was one of them.
Yes.
And people stopped trusting Trust Bank.
Okay.
So Trust Bank ran into financial difficulty, and over a number of years between 1985 and 1990, it became clear that Trust Bank suffered very big financial losses in terms of loans given that were not repaid by customers.
Okay.
As a result of that, Trust Bank ran into a situation where it could have gone bankrupt and not have been able to repay the deposits of its depositors, which would have put such people in very serious financial distress.
Yes.
So the Reserve Bank then did what is generally known as emergency liquidity assistance, also known as lender of last resort assistance, to Bankorp. In other words, to ensure the liquidity of Bankorp.
Okay.
So this assistance was given to Bankorp, and Bankorp was subsequently in 1992 bought by Absa.
Okay.
But it was bought by Absa on the basis of the assistance package, because without the assistance package, Bankorp would have been bankrupt. There was nothing to buy.
Yes.
So Absa paid for Bankorp with an assistance package. Now, of course, in terms of the legal construct, Absa became the party to a deal that no longer existed vis-a-vis Bankorp. So to say that Absa had assistance from the Reserve Bank is factually incorrect. Bankorp had assistance from the Reserve Bank, and Absa subsequently bought Bankorp and amalgamated all the activities into what we know today as Absa.
Okay, so how much are we talking about?
In terms of assistance, Bankorp had assistance from the Reserve Bank amounting to 1.125 billion rands, and Bankorp had assistance from Sanlam its main shareholder, amounting to 510 million rands.
Okay.
So of the total assistance of 1.6 billion rands, about 2/3 came from the Reserve Bank and about 1/3 from Sanlam.
Was it abnormal? Was it out of the ordinary that the Reserve Bank had to rescue a private entity in the manner that it did?
We've seen over many years that the Reserve Bank has rescued many banks, most recently the incident around African Bank.
Yes.
About 2 years ago, an African bank had been rescued before. Many other banks were rescued by not only the South African Reserve Bank in the case of South Africa, but many other banks all over the globe had been rescued by their central banks over many years. The reason for these rescues, very shortly, very briefly, is to keep confidence in your banking sector.
Okay, so what the Reserve Bank did is not abnormal.
What the Reserve Bank did is not abnormal, although the Dennis Davis panel that did an investigation into the assistance to Bankorp reached the conclusion that the length of the assistance can be regarded as somewhat abnormal, and the way that the assistance transaction was structured was out of the ordinary.
So should Absa pay back the money?
In my view, Absa has nothing to account for. Absa has nothing to pay back. If anybody should pay back, it should be the depositors of Trust Bank. It should be the shareholders of Bankorp, which was then an independent company. Absa bought Bankorp as a going concern on the basis of an assistance package.
Absa shouldn't pay back the money.
No, I'm glad to be back. And 2005, when we're here with the Deputy Public Protector, we're discussing precisely this matter. And at the time, we were fighting and saying that we wanted the Public Protector to investigate the matter because they were dragging their feet. The matter was lodged with the Public Protector in 2011, and nothing had happened until Black First Land First got involved. We protested. I'm out on bail with 25 of my comrades because we're at the Public Protector's office, the previous Public Protector. She was not interested in running with this matter. We're very happy that now the nation knows that the apartheid corruption is massive, is deep, and involves very serious people. From where we're sitting, Absa must pay back the money. And we were, of course, let me just say, after the leak, we were very surprised by, not so much surprised, but confirmed that the perspective in South Africa is divided. White people, such as the professor next to me, generally say Absa should not pay back the money. The same people, when President Zuma was in trouble and the finding of the Public Protector said he must pay back the money, they were the first jumping up and down every single moment saying the president must pay back the money, and he did. Now, because it's white capital involved, they say no, Absa should not pay back the money. Even when they say in its own logic, Absa bought an entity which is implicated in benefiting illegally. If he doesn't use that, unlawful. Judge Davis says unlawful. Judge Heath says unlawful. The CIX report says unlawful. The leaked report of the Public Protector says unlawful. The professor next to me is unable to say unlawful because, you see, it's a white psychology. We are divided in this country. We see things from perspectives of our race. Those who benefited from apartheid do not want to accept that there's accounting and reparations. And they like us only to focus on black corruption. We as a movement, we're very clear. You will not deal with corruption in South Africa if you don't break the cycle. And that cycle comes from apartheid. Absa is going to pay back the money. Even Billy Maseka says it, who signed, by the way, the initial contract to investigate this Bankorp matter. So it is not just Absa. We are coming to Johan Rupert. We are coming to Daimler Chrysler. We are also coming to others who are involved in the 26 billion. We're just warming up.
Itumeleng.
Mpo, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mpo, yes. I want to know about Sambo Bank. If I remember well, Sambo Bank,
Yes.
Winnie Mandela and Mulman were implicated in the monies of Sambo Bank. And then I want to tell the guy of BNS. I think Michael Moodley in 1995 and Billy Maseta. Michael Moodley is white and he's from British. He's the one who was a spy. He's the one, according to Tulima Donzela on Monday. I don't know whether if you heard her. But he's the one who started this whole issue of apartheid looting and Paul Hoffman of accountability now. So they are white, and they also wanted to to know what happened to apartheid money, even if there was. So BLS he must debate constructively, not destructively. Debating constructive, that means we want to know the truth, both black and white. But if he's debating destructive, he's dividing South Africa into black and white. And we are, all of us, black, white, Indian, colored, we want to know what happened to that money. But I want to know the answer of Sambo Bank.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Indeed, what happened to the Sambo Bank issue?
For around 2001, I might be off by 1 year, it might be 2002, Sambo Bank ran into liquidity problems.
Correct.
At the time, Sambo had about 535,000 deposits with it. So as far as the Reserve Bank could at the time, the Reserve Bank assisted Sambo with liquidity assistance. Then the Reserve Bank ran out of capacity to assist Sambo any further. And Sambo Bank was then wound down. The assets of the bank, namely the loans like housing bonds to other people, were transferred to other banks, and all the deposits, all 535,000 depositors were repaid their deposits. And in the end, after the bank was wound down, it was found not to be insolvent. There was still a small final amount that remained.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking your calls 089-110-4210 there, and that is the number that you need to call in case you got a question or a contribution to make. 089-110-4210. We shall return shortly.
As Africa becomes the new business frontier, bursting with opportunity and hope, with its rich natural resources and continental diversity, 11 million managers require development of executive management and business skills to unlock Africa's potential. Mancosa graduates have been driving business, entrepreneurship and innovation in Africa and the world. Mancosa. Dream it. We'll take you there.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. Today we're talking about whether indeed should Absa pay back the money that it is said to have received, whether directly or indirectly, but that's the matter that we're dealing with today. So please do give us a call. Let's hear what your contribution is. Andile, are we talking about a political matter here or, a financial matter?
Everything is political. Like the caller was saying, I must not make this a racial issue. It is shocking. The matter was leaked Friday. Do you know that not a single of the main Sunday newspapers picked up the issue? Not a single. We're talking about more than 2 billion rand, which the public protectors leaked. Report says must be paid back. It was taken illegally, but our media, all of it, doesn't find this an interesting and important question. Why is that? It is precisely because our media is owned by white capital, and in fact its narrative is to protect white capital. Now we want all corruption to be taken care of, but why, when white capital has been exposed, our media is silenced. Up to today, even the dailies, they're not picking up on this issue, which is really a big issue. All of us should be united in saying Absa pay back the money, don't waste time. Barclays, we should be saying to Barclays, which is part owner to Absa, if you want to trade in South Africa, you have to make sure that Absa pay back the money. Our government got big accounts with Absa. Our government should be saying, we're withdrawing our money because you have taken from the Reserve Bank, and for all this time, you have not actually paid back that money.
Hold it there. Mandla, welcome.
Yes, Mbo.
Hi, welcome. Mandla, your line is bad, extremely bad. Please.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Let me change the position. My concern,
yes.
I've got a concern regarding with Matonzela. Matonzela, some people, they did indicate that Matonzela, she was a spy. But you could see now what is going on, and he hiding all this information. You ask yourself, why after she investigated everything, but she didn't want and to reveal this thing? The only thing, they were gunning Zuma because they know Zuma is rotten. But I want to tell you, there is a case against Matonzela. Matonzela, this is the defeating end of justice. Our schools are bent down because there was no money. There was cry all over, but hence that apartheid government, they were busy doing all these things, and which even the citizens had been treated by the money people. But no one can comment even this media. And this media can show that the media still belongs to the white majority here in South Africa.
Okay. Mandla, thanks very much for that call. Prof, it's going back, and I want to ask you the same question I asked Andile. Is this a political or a financial matter?
Paul, I just need to disagree with Andile in his earlier remark before we had the caller on no newspaper reporting on the matter. The Afrikaans newspaper Rapport on Sunday carried the whole story as a headline on its front page.
Okay.
And likewise, the business section of Beeld carried it on Monday,
so
very extensively.
The Afrikaner, okay.
And Business Day had it as its headline on the front page this morning. So it is factually incorrect to say that Sunday papers didn't pick up and dailies didn't pick up. Dailies picked up on Monday and Business Day today, and the report on Sunday.
Yes.
So
he must get his facts right.
This is a side issue. The big newspapers not carrying the story, and the question is why. I mean, this is a big issue, right? So, and we're clear it is because it's white capital. You know, the big thing about this money, it's money stolen from the Reserve Bank. It's money stolen from the people.
Okay.
Why did the Reserve Bank not deal with this matter? President Thabo Mbeki then got the report. Trevor Manuel, Tito Mboweni was the governor at the time, and they did nothing about this. And for us, we see even the current Reserve Bank, it's continuing to protect the interest of white capital, because you see, if you look at the people implicated, Absa Maria Ramos is one of the people who went to the ANC that December when there was a big problem of the Minister of Finance, and said they don't want Van Rooyen, they want Pravin Gordhan to become the minister. I can tell you now, when the South African Reserve Bank responds, because the Public Protector has asked them to respond by the 28th of February, when they do respond, they're going to protect white capital, because that particular entity, because of the minister, is captured by white capital.
Aubrey, you are in the mid-val. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mpo.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mpo, I'm a bit perturbed that your two visitors there confine the problem of bankism, which is the backbone of capitalism, to the recovery of the money taken by, or rather paid to Absa.
Okay.
In fact, I think what we should be busy with is the fact that bankism itself is evil. Number one, as you may well know, it's common knowledge now that the Reserve Bank itself is not owned by the government of South Africa. Meaning, in other words, in South Africa and in many parts of the world, the monetary policy is governed by the private sector. This is the case in South Africa.
Yes.
Two, the banks in South Africa, through the law of fractional reserve, lend out money that they do not have. For instance, in this country, fractional reserve is 40%, meaning in other words, the banks can lend out, they need to have only 40% of what they are lending out. Meaning in other words, they don't have to have the money that they are lending you to go and buy the house or the car.
They only need 40%.
they don't have to have the money. Meaning, in other words, what they are doing is they are lending you the money they don't have, but you have to pay capital and interest. Why? Because there is no intrinsic value in the money. It is all computers.
Yes.
It is all figures in the computers.
Yes.
Now we are busy with money that was taken by... Hello, are you still there?
Yes.
We're busy with money taken by Absa, when in fact the evil of capitalism, which is embedded in bankism, is not being challenged. I would very much like to hear especially the black gentleman talk about white capital. He's against white capital, but he says nothing about black capital. And I want to say the whole concept of capital and capitalism is the evil that has landed us where we are today. We wouldn't be where we are if there wasn't that problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aubrey, for that. I'll come to you. But Prof, indeed, what are the implications of having a reserve bank which is privately owned?
The South African Reserve Bank has private shareholders. The shareholders have limited rights in the operations of the Reserve Bank. Amongst others, they can elect 7 of the 15 board members of the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank is one of 7 central banks in the world with such a construct. I must hasten to add that before 1933, just about all central banks in the world had that construct. It changed after the Great Depression of 1933. But to come back to the South African Reserve Bank, the Reserve Bank's mandate is derived from government. So the Minister of Finance announces the mandate of the Reserve Bank, which is to keep inflation between 3 and 6%. And the Reserve Bank must conduct monetary policy with that aim in mind. We've heard just before this program that the latest inflation figure is 6.8%. So if anything, the Reserve Bank was not that successful in discharging its mandate, and the Reserve Bank should make sure that inflation comes back to between 3 and 6%, thus properly discharging its mandate.
Okay, let's go to Khalishiw and talk to George. George, welcome. Yes.
Andile
Oh, Mama
tšhelete e a buang ka yone ke tšhelete ya ga mang ya reng e tseilwe a ke tšhelete ya batho ba bantsho of ke tšhelete ya makgowa of ke tšhelete ya batho ba kopane ka moka bone as South Africans. And kopa gore if that question is not so personal, Andile Mkhwebane, what qualification that Andile Mkhwebane have?
Okay.
I thank you.
Thanks very much, George. Well, George, they're saying he wants to know from you, Andile.
Yes. Yes. No. You see, one of the problems of colonialism is that black people in South Africa don't actually accept that this is our country. I mean, a question like that shows the difficulties that we have. That, apartheid functionaries and business people could steal money from the state. And actually, the question seems to suggest that that money is not our money. The wealth of this country was created out of thieving, or rather, taking our land by force and forcing black people to become slaves. There's no single white person with money in this country, wealth, which is not derived from land dispossession from black people, from systematic oppression and exploitation of black people. Every little piece of wealth belongs to black people. So that's, and my qualification is that I'm a black revolutionary who want to see change in this country and want to see black people first, so that we can become real owners of this country. Right now, we're a majority which is excluded. We have nothing. Me and him have absolutely nothing, but we are supposed to be citizens, supposed to be a majority. Why is that? It's because apartheid and colonialism, which has created the problem we have. We hope the Reserve Bank, and that question from one of your callers, the Reserve Bank indeed must be nationalized and must belong to the people. And the current Reserve Bank and its managers do not have this idea that it must serve the interests of our people and end the monopoly. Why are they stopping black people having banks? I mean, this idea that another bank, Habib Bank, is going to come through, but the Reserve Bank is stopping this process because it wants to protect white monopoly in the banking system, which affect us negatively.
There's a perception out there, and unfortunately we have run out of time. I would have wanted to pose this question earlier. There's a perception out there that Andile is captured himself. So all these things that he's saying, he's actually on the payroll of the Guptas, he is defending.
I am captured indeed. I'm captured by the black agenda. And that black agenda says black people first. Everything we have said, including chasing the money stolen by white capital, it is to contribute towards this black agenda. And we are not going to stop. Absa is going to pay back the money.
If they don't?
Well, in fact, we are planning to already picket and occupy Absa branches. We're going to go national. We're calling all South Africans to make sure Absa doesn't waste money, time and money. Now they're saying, Absa, we must investigate. What must we investigate? 4 investigations have said you have done something unlawful and you must pay back the money. Then we go to Rupert and others.
Well, Absa is actually denying that they have any wrong.
A thief never says yes. It is up to us who have been wronged to make sure justice is done.
And you are going to partner with your former comrades?
We have called Julius Malema to forget about London. Let us work together. Let us occupy Absa. Let us get the money to our people. I hope that he can also come through so that he stop this DA and white people think that has been happening up to now. We must serve our people as a united people with a clear vision, black first, so that really we can't be excluded as a majority.
Prof, I think I should have called you alone, eh?
Thank you, Paul. It was very nice to meet Andile. It was very interesting to talk to Andile. Thank you for your time.
All right, I will definitely get Prof on a one-on-one. But that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. And from me and the entire crew, Prof, have yourself a wonderful time. I have a hot.